All right, back with you here on the morning show with Anthony. Again, brand new website, some brand new features for you, wehm.com. Go check it out. Become an EHM insider, and you can get exclusive giveaways and insider information that we're going to have up there for you. Join today, right now, wehm.com. Let's take a look at the most anticipated albums of 2018. By the way, also up on the website, our list of the best albums of 2017, which we're still going to be talking about. But right now, we're going to be focusing on albums in 2018. I want to start with Jimi Hendrix. Super excited about this one. This is in the series of releases that he's been putting out the last few years: Valleys of Neptune and People, Hell and Angels. These are some of the unreleased and vault material, if you will, of Jimi Hendrix and his estate, as well as some of the guys that worked on recording this information, this music all these years ago, have been putting out this sort of new series of material. This new record called Both Sides of the Sky is expected to come out in 2018. It'll focus on the very, very comprehensive time from 68 to 70 when Jimmy did a lot of recording. You'll hear some songs that you've heard released before. You'll hear some covers, and you'll hear some brand new material. There's alternate versions of Stepping Stone, Lover Man, and Hear My Train A-Coming, as well as recordings where Jimmy is joined by Johnny Winter and Stephen Stills. Very cool. Eddie Kramer, who was the engineer for Hendrix for all those years, along with Janie and John McDermott, are putting out this third album in this series. Both Sides of the Sky from Jimi Hendrix we're expecting to see at some point in 2018 here. Actually pretty early on in 2018. So again, all this information up at wehm.com. John Prine just got off of working with Dan Auerbach on his new album, and now John Prine is readying a bunch of material for his first record since 2005's Fair and Square. We'll look forward to John Prine putting out some material in 2018. I'm really excited about these guys. They made my list of the best albums in 2015. The 1975 are expected to be putting out some new material. They were on BBC One not that long ago talking about the record and the fact that it'll be called Music for Cars. And Matt Healy, the lead singer of the band, also went on to say that this is not necessarily the end of the 1975, but it is the end of an era. So I don't know what that means. Are they switching up music styles or whatever? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm a little excited and a little nervous at the same time, and I can't wait to get the new material from the 1975. By the way, band that's been around for quite some time, and I was never all that excited about them until I saw them on SNL. So for those of you who always say SNL is insignificant, it completely is not. I thought that was a great booking at the time. Their live performance on that show really got me hooked on those guys, and I was excited to see what else they had and started listening to their back catalog stuff and fell in love with it. Speaking of back catalog stuff, this guy has a ton. David Byrne, next on our list of the most anticipated albums of 2018. The last release he had was a collab with St. Vincent, Love This Giant. That came out a few years ago. That was huge. But if you have to go back all the way to his last solo release, last pure solo release, not the stuff he did with Brian Eno, that was 13 years ago. Grown Backwards was 13 years ago. And we'll get some new music from David Byrne this time around. We have talked about this in the past. Some of this information sort of leaked already. Mysteriously, one day there was a link on Amazon to pre-order the album, which was under the title American Utopia. And I still believe it's going to be called American Utopia. That Amazon listing was since pulled down, and so it's not up there anymore. But if you did a Google search the day or so after, it still showed up in Google under the name American Utopia, and so on and so forth. Now, the rumor was it would be coming out in, I think, March or April, and David has announced a tour for that time, so it all kind of totally makes sense. All signs pointing to we'll get some new David Byrne material with the tour, and it will be totally solo work. really excited about that. I know Talking Heads fans and David Byrne fans are going to be really excited about that. Another group that I feel like I kind of got into a little bit later on in their run was Arctic Monkeys. When they came out with AM, which, by the way, also made my list of best of albums. I think that was 2013, though, we have to go back to. Triple platinum since then, and they haven't put out new material since then, but that's kind of what happens with music. It does kind of take a while to get out there and reach everybody it's supposed to be reaching. So, you know, like with some bands, you're like, why 5 years in between albums? Well, this is kind of why, because when the last album is still selling like gangbusters, it's kind of stupid almost to put out even more new material when your last album is still reaching people, you know, on a daily basis and selling a ton. And that's the case with Arctic Monkeys, but they are going to be putting out some new material in 2018. They let us know through Motorcycle Magazine For the Ride, which makes total sense. But when you reach the status of Arctic Monkeys, you can tell whoever you want about your new material. It doesn't have to be Rolling Stone or WEHM. You can go to For the Ride, the Motorcycle Magazine, and say you're working on some new material. Telling us directly they were working on some new material was Death Cab for Cutie. Next on our list of the most anticipated albums of 2018. They told us through Instagram, had a shot of the guys in studio working on some new material. The caption on the Instagram post was simply LP9 with 2 slashes, not one, but 2 slashes, and 2018. So we know we're going to get some new material from Death Cab. We don't know what it is. We know it's their 9th LP. It is the 20th anniversary of the band's first release, Something About Airplanes. So that's kind of cool. And we'll keep you up to date if we find out anything else from Death Cab for Cutie. Churches, another group that landed pretty high on my list of 2015's best records. Every Open Eye really grew on me towards the latter part of that year. They told us they went back into the studio back in February, and we just got a post from Martin in the band again on Twitter, but you can see it on the EHM website, wehm.com, that they are putting the finishing touches on what they call the most aggressive and vulnerable album that they've ever made. No title just yet, but we know we're going to get something, and it sounds like it's special, at least special enough to excite the guys and gal in that band. Speaking of 5 years in between records, that's something that Courtney Barnett knows nothing about because she just wrapped up a tour and the release of her collaboration with Kurt Weill in 2017, and apparently right back at it. She's been writing and recording while touring around with Kurt, and she told the BBC One that she is close to completing her latest solo effort. So it could be back-to-back years for Courtney Barnett as she readies some new material. Morning Show with Anthony here, talking about the most anticipated albums of 2018. Again, another back-to-backer. We go to Father John Misty, who put out Pure Comedy in 2017. Check out the list of the best albums of 2017 on wehm.com from all your favorite personalities. Pure Comedy was on a lot of people's lists this year, and Father John Misty is riding the wave because he is told Uncut Magazine that he is already done with a new, well, not done, but almost done with a new record. He's going to be putting it out in 2018. This is something like 3 albums in 4 years, I think, for him. Crazy amount of material coming from Father John Misty right now. So if you were excited about Pure Comedy, get excited about some newer material because he's going to be coming out with something in 18. He told Uncut Magazine that it is a, quote, heartache album, and he thinks that putting out another record this quick, quote, essentially serves the purpose of making the painful and the isolating less painful and less isolating. Vampire Weekend has spent a considerable amount of time in between releases. We talked about Rostam moving on from the band, although he has been rumored to be working on some of the material that is going to be on their latest release. We got a Instagram post from Ezra not that long ago with a title, working title of Mitsubishi Macchiato. They believe in 2018 we'll get that offering from the trio rendition of Vampire Weekend. But like I said, Rostam apparently has been working on some of this material with the band, so we'll wait and see. Jack White is next on our most anticipated albums of 2018. We got a little bit of a teaser in December as to what this album is going to sound like. He put out a sort of soundscape with a few clips from each of the songs on the new record on YouTube in mid-December, with under the title of Servings and Portions from My Boarding House Reach, which has led to the speculation that the album will be titled Boarding House Reach. This is the thing that we've been tracking in all of 2017. Anytime there was a little bit of new information, we had it here for you. Going back to the original story of Jack renting out a 2-bedroom apartment in Nashville so that he could be alone and by himself, and recording this material on a recorder that he had bought when he was a teenager from the money he made mowing lawns, to now we're getting pretty close with this little teaser release in December. So we'll wait and see. Again, you can see the teaser and get all this information on the new website, wehm.com, that we just fancied up for you. Finally, Bruce Springsteen is on our list of most anticipated albums of 2018. I think this is a good time for Bruce to release something. He's got that Broadway show going on right now. He has apparently a bunch of material that he's been working on outside of the E Street Band. E Street knows that he's doing the Broadway run, so 2018 is kind of out for the band. We saw Max Weinberg at the Ranger game at Citi Field yesterday. We know Lil Steven Van Zandt put out some stuff before the holidays, so it looks like everybody's going to be kind of off doing their own thing in 2018, and so that might be like a good opportunity for Bruce to put out some new music. The last album he put out was High Hopes, which was material that he had written before he put out the last album before that, which was Wrecking Ball. And Wrecking Ball was some prior material from a long, long time ago that he had reworked. So this material is pre-Wrecking Ball, if that makes any sense. So essentially, Bruce has been writing a whole ton of stuff and never really puts it out until after a long time and goes back and revisits it. And he just did an interview with Variety where he talked about this other material that he has been working on. So I think that we could be getting, I think it's a strong possibility he puts out that material this year without E Street. Just throws it out there to us while he's got this Broadway thing going on. It's got a lot of hype behind it, so he'll have all the press that he needs to put out a new record. So there you go. And the latest addendum that we have for you here that literally just came in for us, Paul McCartney is supposedly putting the finishing touches on an album in 2018. He's been writing it for quite some time while on this huge tour, the one-on-one tour that he has been on, that has taken him from everywhere from right here on Long Island to Japan. He is now comfortable in saying he's putting the finishing touches on some material, so we could have some new Paul McCartney material for 2018. How exciting is that? All right, so that's the big story today. We'll be following this as it goes along, as it continues to develop. Like I said, we just found out about Paul's album. There could be a whole bunch more. We'll continue to add to this list. Make sure you guys are checking in daily at wehm.com, and I can't emphasize enough, join the Insider Club. Become an EHM insider. You're not going to regret that whatsoever. You're going to love it. It's going to have all sorts of cool information for you and get you in on contests early, so on and so forth. So become an EHM insider right now at wehm.com.